Hi guys, we'll come to the last part that we have been going to discuss. And first of all, let me take this online information. And online information is all about taking information from the internet, World Wide Web. And basically there are two types of sources that we take information from. One is primary source, which is the content that we generate, our own content, and secondary source is the content that someone else has generated, so we can use them. For example, photographs that you have taken, interviews, questionnaires conducted by you, your blogs, your own sound and video recording are primary sources. Newspaper, CDs, DVDs, television, radio, websites created by others are secondary. When you're looking for information in World Wide Web, you have two options. One is to type the URL of the resource right here in the address bar. The other is to use a search engine. Now when it comes to search engine, most of you get mixed up with the search engine and the website. The web browser. Web browser is a software, it's a standalone software that we use to visit other websites. But search engine is the website with a backend database, large backend database which has information about other sites. And what you do is you type keywords in the search engine to search that database and get relevant results that match your search criteria. And of course you can use voice assistants in your phone to search for information, but they are not really search engines. They will make use of a search engine to get the results. Right, and search engines like Bing, Google, Yahoo are quite famous, and Creative Commons is a licensing system where you and the developer discuss the licensing and decide on what kind of rights to be given, what kind of rights to be kept. And DuckDuckGo is a search engine which allows you to do anonymous searching, where it protects your privacy because it does not record your browsing history, cookie details and things like that. In Chrome also you have this option. If you press Ctrl+Shift+N, you go to a mode called incognito. In incognito mode, you can see that it does not store the browsing history, cookies and information entered to the forms, websites you visit, everything. So you can do some anonymous browsing, right? So the words that we type into the search engine is called keywords. And first, initially we type keywords, and if these keywords are not enough, if it is not giving enough results, we add more keywords. By adding more keywords, we make it more relevant to what we are searching, and we can narrow down our search, so we get more relevant results. And nowadays browsers, they allow us to search based on different criteria. You can see that images, you can search for videos, news, etc. And a lot of filtering options are there. We can filter, or we can search based on the time the information was published, the date, country, region, language. So many options are there. So these are called advanced search options. So there are basically different ways of searching, right? And also we can have a search based on the licensing arrangement, which describes the rights, the permissions given to the user. Like for example, here you can see, right, the licensing based on the licensing, even the images based on the size. You can search, and licensing like toll-free or loyalty-free free images if you are searching for, or if you are searching for copyrighted images, you can search based on the license, right? So licensing to use and distribute, and these are describing the user rights, which are permissions. Okay, so some search engines gives results using autofill. As soon as you start typing, you can see that it suggests the word because they have been analyzing the keywords that people have been typing, so they can try to guess it. These sites can be based on popular searches made by other users on your or your own browsing history. Even something that you searched previously can be displayed here. So this is called autofill option. In Forms you get this, and browsing history is recording the sites that you visited, the pages you visited, and etc. Right, and when you want to search, so it is a known fact that some search engines keep users' data based on your account actually, and this tracks your search history, and in a way this lacks privacy, but and it affects the filter bubble. On the other hand, it might be useful because it caters what is needed for you, right? Another way of searching is using the keywords, and in front of the keywords you can add plus sign or the minus sign. The plus sign will include the keyword in the search, and the minus sign will exclude the keyword, so that you don't need to remove and type again, right? For example, let me show you. If you go to Google, if I want to search for cats and dogs, I enter cats, dogs as keywords. You can see I'm getting results of cats as well as dogs. Right now, if I put minus here for cats and search, I'm going to get results of dogs only. So something like that. So I can include and exclude the keywords in our search, right? Then we can also do a phrase matching, where we look for the exact phrase, exact wording, sentence. For example, if I put double quotes here, it's going to search for cats and dogs as it is. You can see it's getting highlighted here, highlighted there, right? It's going to search for the exact phrase. And also remember now, phrase matching will give you the least amount of results, because it is looking for the exact result, exact wording, right, rather than trying different combinations. Fitness for purpose is something where, like, if you search for some information or an image, whether it can be used for the intended purpose, right? It can come from a primary source or a secondary source, but if it is suitable or if it is good enough for your intended use, it is called fit for purpose. For example, I want an image to be used as a logo. So is it a good image? Is it going to be effective? Does it highlight what I'm going to do? Is it a clip art? So that's fit for purpose, right? So when you're searching for information, that's something you should look for. So you can see that there are different ways of searching information. One is using the URL, second is using a search engine. If you are using a search engine, there are different ways of searching. You can add keywords, you can add more keywords to define your search. You can do a phrase match, the exact wording, sentence, and you can also do an advanced search, where you can filter based on the type, time, date, region, language, and etc. The image size and so on. You can add keywords and include keywords and exclude keywords using plus sign and minus sign. So plenty of opportunities are there. Right, and when you are searching for information, it's important that you look for certain characteristics, right? So first one is accuracy. The information that you're looking at, if it is not accurate, then what happens is it's incomplete, it's false, you'll be taking false decision. So how can you avoid this? By checking with a trustworthy site, comparing with some other sources, like maybe web sources and even printed sources, or you can even ask a professional. Age, here age means we are checking whether it is up to date, right? And if it is outdated, then it's no longer relevant for right now, the present, and you'll be looking at outdated data. So you can check for the updated date, last updated date, to verify whether it is current data. Again, you can cross check if you want, but remember, in the exam, write only one answer per point, right? Then relevance, the information that you are looking at, if it is not relevant for what you are going to do, then it's going to be useless, right? So you have to always extract the information that is relevant for your intended use. Reliability, we say reliable if the results are not changing, if it is the same results that we are getting over and over time, it's reliable. So again, if you compare with other sites, you can find out whether it is reliable or not, or you can try to look at the same set of information in different sources and see whether it's the same thing that they say. Bias is one-sided information. If it is biased, then we can't take a proper decision, right? Because it's giving only one side of the story. We need to have have both sides of the story, and sometimes the information can be prejudiced, which means it's directed at someone, like it's written in a one-sided manner to hate someone, because they dislike someone, they hate someone. So it's not reasonable, it's not balanced set of information, right? So again, checking to see if it provides a range of viewpoints. When you read it, you can understand whether it is biased or not, whether it is one-sided or not. Checking for missing information, checking the use of any statistics, questioning them, right? Considering whether you could use the same information. Okay, so that's about going through information, finding information, right? But once you find the information, you are going to use the information. When you are using the information, there are two important things that you should look at. You should check whether the information is copyrighted, whether you are going to violate the copyright law, because that information can belong to someone else. So it's important that you take the permission from that person, the owner of that information, right? So copyright, it's a legal ownership to someone's original content, so you can't really misuse it. Either you have to take permission, or you might have to pay for the rights. Now, plagiarism is where you just go to internet, World Wide Web, and you copy the information and produce it as your own, especially in assignments. We mostly do that, and it is it's very wrong, because in most of the examinations they check for plagiarism using automated systems, and if the plagiarism level is high, which means if you have copied a lot, then they are going to cancel the assignment, or they are going to penalize your results. So what are the ways of avoiding plagiarism? One is you can give credit to the extract that you take. You can mention that this is taken from this particular source, this particular website. You can see that most of the time in images they put the source of the image. Then you can write it in your own words. That's the most easiest way. It is also called paraphrasing, writing in your own words. To avoid plagiarism, you can rewrite or paraphrase information, and also you can put the extracted information within double quotes, so that it shows the other people that it is extracted. Also, some people, they create a separate section called bibliography, where they include the source of the information, including the last updated date. These are the ways that you can avoid plagiarism. So remember, when you are using information, right, going through information, finding information is one thing, using information is another thing, right? This often comes in 6 mark, 8 mark questions. When you are using information, It's important to check whether it is copyrighted, whether you are violating the copyright law, or whether you are committing a plagiarism. Right? Which one of these is used to match a full phrase in a search? It's double quotes. It's called phrase matching. State 2 ways in which image search can be refined. You can search based on the size, based on the region, and the license as well. State 1 reason why you should check whether the information is biased before using it, because it gives only one-sided information, and your decision can be wrong. So it's important to look at both sides of the story. Describe how a search engine works. Well, it has a back end and a front end. In the front end, you give the keywords. These keywords are sent to the back end, where there's a huge database with lots of information about other websites, and there's a match query. These keywords are queried to bring out matching results with the link to that source. And often this database is updated because they use search engine bots, web bots, which go through other websites and extract information to update the database. Explain why it is important to check whether the information is protected by copyright before using it in your own work. Well, by having a copyright, it tells that it is owned by someone, it belongs to someone else. So if you don't check whether the information is copyrighted, you will commit copyright violation, which is an illegal thing. So these explain type questions are quite tricky. You have a point and you have to give the reason for that point. Right? State 1 benefit to students of rewriting information rather than copying in word to word. Well, they can avoid plagiarism if they rewrite the information on using their own words, which is also called paraphrasing. This will reduce the plagiarism, avoid plagiarism. State 3 examples of search syntax. Well, we can search for phrase. You can use plus or minus. You can also use logical operators like AND or between keywords. Right, source. A podcast that you have created is primary or secondary. It is actually a primary source because it's something you created. A video of a discussion that you have with an expert is primary because you ask your own questions. Your own copy of a film is a secondary because film doesn't belong to you. Notes that you take while visiting a museum is primary. A book that you borrow from someone is secondary because that book is written by someone else. An image that you download from internet doesn't belong to you, someone else's. It doesn't say that it's your photo that you have uploaded, but in general we have to take it as someone else's, right? Your own recording of a radio broadcast, well, it's secondary because it's not it's someone else's broadcast that you record, even though it's your own recording. Okay, so hope you understood this section about online information, and stay tuned for the next video on online goods and services, and finally the cloud.